Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Talking About Birds, the only Cardinal podcast that, like John Mazalek, is sticking around whether you like it or not. My name is Nate Heininger, and I am joined by my co-host, Ben Samorka.
Hey, Nate.
If you have an idea for the opening bit, text or leave us a voicemail at 848-48-BIRDS. Hambone, we're back.
Hell
Here
yeah.
we go again. How you doing today?
They can't stop us, you know. They're trying to.
We've got multiple cease and desists.
Oh man, the people, they're coming down on us, Nate.
How are things? We're here in September. It's cooling down. No one loves anything more than some weather talk. It's cooling down here in St. Louis. Starting to feel good. Starting to feel a little bit better. How are you?
Fine. I went to the top of Pikes Peak over the weekend, and guess what? It was damn cold up there.
Yeah, it's tall.
It was freezing.
Yeah. What's the elevation on Pikes
about 14 thou?
About 14 thou.
A little over 14 thou.
Isn't that a thing? And so have you been to the top of that before?
No, it was my first time.
Isn't that a thing in Colorado, doing the 14ers or whatever they call them?
Hiking 14ers.
Okay.
I did not hike it. I rode a little train.
That's the way to do it.
Yes. I rode a little train. It was going like 5 miles an hour, and we looked at the various places where people had died along the train tracks.
I'm imagining you're saying rode a little train that went 5 miles per hour. Imagining you sitting in something that is like akin to a like children's wagon where you're sitting and you're bigger than it. And it's just like slowly tugging you up the mountain. Is that mental image correct?
I cannot. You must have done this before. That's exactly what I did.
Well, that's cool. So, was there beverage services on this train, or
there were not? The angle was too high. You actually couldn't. If you stood up, the conductor yelled at you.
Wow.
Because there are parts of this train ride, Nate. You're not going to believe this. You ready?
Yeah, I'm on the edge of my seat. He looked at me like I was supposed to say something.
I don't know. There are parts of this train ride where you're at a 25-degree angle. Could you believe that?
Wow.
25 degrees on a choo-choo train.
That's acute.
I saw a tree that was 2,000 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
cool.
about it. I got a cheeseburger at the top because I forgot to eat breakfast and lunch. It was a really bad cheeseburger. But
yeah, I was going to say, what's the quality of food at 14,000?
Yeah, it had clearly been wrapped that morning and been sitting for about 8 hours before I got to it, but did the job. And have you ever eaten a cheeseburger at 14,000 feet? I don't think so.
No, is that the Mile High Club? Is that what they mean?
That's a couple miles, friendo.
It's the kind of Mile High Club I want to join.
My life is dope and I do dope shit. You know, that's how I roll over here.
Well, that's cool. What inspired you to finally go to the top of Pikes Peak?
We had some family in town. We all went down to the springs, and it seemed like a exciting, fun way to spend the day. And it was cool. It's gorgeous. You know, you're in nature's bounty.
Wow.
Surrounded by rocks.
It was this year first 14er. Did I ask that already?
You have not asked that.
Okay.
I have a couple of 14ers under my belt.
Wow.
I kind of find it is a big culture out here. Literally, we had a governor win on the platform that he has hiked every 14er in the state.
Yeah,
he did some other things too, but Hickenlooper, who is now a United States senator, essentially got his gubernatorial seat because he was campaigning on how a Colorado he was and hiked every 14er in the state. I kind of look at it like, who gives a shit if it's 13,000, 12,000, or 14,000?
Sure.
It's a hike, but people are very weird about it. It's a whole thing. Who cares?
Are there little choo-choos that take you to the top of all of them?
There are not. Unfortunately, you gotta walk your little ass up those hills.
Why'd so many people die if there's just a little train you can take?
It happened about 100 years ago or so.
Did they not just get a cheeseburger up there? Like, how are you dying on Pikes Peak?
That's a great point. That's a great point. These people are stupid. I mean, they're dead, which,
Uh-huh.
if you're dead, that's kind of dumb.
Yeah.
I would recommend being alive.
Yeah, dude.
So
For sure.
Bad start there.
Go ride a little train instead. All right. Well, hey, I've got a little dumb thing for us to do. That might be fun. We'll see. So I was minding my own business the other day in my playing my PS5, and wouldn't you know it, the card shark showed up. So I had to open up a pack of cards to appease the card shark. This happens to me, and you're always like, "Oh, he's acting like it's a surprise," and it's like, "No, it just happens to me. I'm just this real life shark tries to eat me, and I have to."
You guys can't see it. He's gesticulating wildly. He is foaming at the mouth right now. I don't know what is happening.
It's a real problem, but fortunately, I had a pack of Topps 2024 Series 2 nearby.
Okay,
and so I opened it up, and I got this fun little card in it. It is a home run challenge card for Juan Soto.
Wow.
And I know the Cardinals have been playing a little better of late, but we all kind of know where the season is going. So I thought it might be fun to do a little activity centered around like a really good baseball player. So the way this works is I have to pick a game, like a date in a game where I predict Juan Soto to hit a home run.
Okay.
And if he hits a home run on that day, I win glorious prizes.
Wow.
So I was thinking we should look at the next week of games.
Well, I have great news, Nate.
Yeah.
The Yankees are playing the Cubbies starting on Friday.
Okay. Is it I guess either ballpark would be good.
Yeah. I mean, it's Juan Soto, so it's typically good, but they're playing at Wrigley.
Okay. All right. What's the matchup there? Who do we hope he plays?
I feel like pretty much everyone other than Imanaga, right? Like,
yeah,
Cubs they don't have a great, although they are kind of surging right now. I shouldn't invoke their name and because they'll hurt us. But
yeah,
let's see, who are the people who are supposed to be pitching against the Yankees? We have Javier Assad. He's had a pretty good year, Nathan.
Yeah.
Then we have Jordan Wicks. He's had an okay year. And then we have Jameson Taillon. I will tell you, out of those three, I think I would go Jameson Taillon. I think really because they're all... Oh, wait, no. Jordan Wicks is a lefty. My bad. But I would pick a righty. Mm-hmm. And Jameson Taillon is kind of sucked this year.
He's been better of late, but definitely been a part of why they are where they are in the standings. Pulling up Juan Soto's StatCast, which is just
pretty.
Yeah, it's crazy. He's hit the majority of his home runs. 28 of his home runs have come off the fastball.
Yeah.
So we're looking for bad fastballs. You think that's Taillon?
I kind of think that's exactly who we're talking about. I'm going to look up his pitch value. But let's take a look. Jameson Taillon has a negative 2.2 rated fastball. Okay. He has a pretty nice cutter. His cutter is actually his best pitch. But his four seam is trash.
All right. So we're looking for Juan Soto. That's the Sunday game. Is that what it's projected to be?
That's the Sunday game, friendo.
Okay. So I'm going to lock it in. I'm going to put it in I have to do a little scratcher thing and go to a thing, but I can apparently win a parallels card, which is a valuable thing, but I could also end up winning tickets to the 2025 Home Run Derby.
Hell yes.
Wouldn't that be fun?
If you win, I'm taking the other ticket, to be clear.
I think that's fair. That's fair. All right. So listeners, you can play along. We'll see if Juan Soto hits a bomb on the Sunday game.
Did you already scratch? I want to take a look at Javier Assad's pitch values real quick.
No, I haven't. I'm going to actually input this after the episode. I'm sure it's a fucking obnoxious little...
So I'll just say what it's worth. Javier Assad's fastball and cutter are both negative pitches on the season. So that, I don't know, there might be more to talk about here. He also has a bad slider, a bad curveball, and a bad changeup. How has he had such a good year? I guess his year isn't as good as it once was.
What's the weather forecast in Chicago this week? And when's the wind blowing out?
Okay, I'm going to pull that up right now. Weather in Chicago. Sunday, the high is 75. Friday, 68. Saturday, 65. Sunday, 78, 73. So that makes me go back to Tyon. That's a little warmer. The ball's flying a little better.
Yeah.
But it's all great weather there. I'd like to, maybe we should just go to Chicago this weekend. That sounds
nice.
Lovely. Yeah.
All right. I think we stick with the original call.
Okay.
And we go with Tyon on Sunday. Knowing my luck, he's going to get the day off.
That's a scary part of Sunday, but I think take the Tyon, and we're going to the Derby, baby.
Well, they're competing right now. They've actually been struggling over the last week. I saw there was some silly stat that since Aaron Judge was on Paw Patrol, him and Juan Soto are like 2 for 12 or 2 for 15 or something like that. And the Yankees have lost 4 games in a row. I forget the
Judge
specifics
was on
of it.
Paw Patrol. Does he have children?
I don't know. I don't think so. But I don't know why I don't think so. I don't know anything about him outside of baseball.
Does Aaron Judge have kids? What does Aaron Judge's wife do? Some weird questions about did Aaron Judge get veneers
and what does he do? I don't know. I mean, obviously having kids makes you far more likely to participate in children's material. But if his publicist is just like, we want you everywhere. He's like the biggest baseball star right now besides Ohtani. And I think there's like a history of baseball players going on like Sesame Street and stuff like that. And
all right,
Paw Patrol, ACAB, but Paw Patrol is sort of is super popular right now.
Sure. Yeah, I'm told.
Yeah, we don't. As a kid haver, we don't have that shit on in our house.
Oh, damn. Sounds fun over there. Cool.
Yeah, nature documentaries.
All right. So like just maiming and killing.
Yeah.
Man, so we also went to the zoo while everybody was in town.
Okay.
And we saw a leopard ripping apart a chicken.
Damn.
And that was pretty intense. You could hear the bones cracking and stuff like that.
Were you jealous?
I was like, damn, that looks good. I look over to Mary. I said, oh, I could go for some chicken strips right now.
Let me get in there.
She didn't think that was funny.
Yeah. You're right. Of course, her being a vegetarian.
She is a vegetarian. Yeah. I did for lunch get a chicken barbecue pizza, and I was like, ooh, I'm like that tiger or that leopard or whatever.
Yeah, I bet. Did you feel cool? I know that tiger probably had the barbecue sauce too.
And its greasy little paws.
Yikes. All right. Well, let's talk about the Cardinals. So
yeah, you're pissing me off already today, Nate. Let's get into it.
We got a handful of roster moves. Before we get into like the roster moves and sort of the end of season play, I just want to say I've been having some fun watching these games recently. You know, it's a disappointing fact that like it's almost certainly over. But as just a baseball fan, I've been enjoying watching the games. And if you're listening to this podcast, I hope that you're obviously like a super fan because you're listening to this. But like, hopefully the dire situation that the overall club is in hasn't totally killed your just enjoyment of watching an individual game of baseball, because there's been some fun games lately.
Yeah. So I'm going to make a little argument on why the team is worth watching right now at the end of the segment. But I agree. It's like we only have so much baseball left. When baseball is not on, I hate that. I'd much rather watch mediocre baseball than no baseball at all. I also think there's the exciting part of, watching Mason Wynn and Burley and Walker grow and learn and figure it out. And, you get to kind of switch into GM mode, and you're evaluating the players and what the Cardinals should do next. And, I get people. I understand when people on Twitter and all the hellscapes that is social media are like, I'm done watching the team. I've been done watching since last year. I've been done. Well, do you even really love baseball that much?
Yeah.
Like, I don't get just because the team isn't crushing every single night or doing exactly what you think, I still enjoy watching it.
Yeah.
Because I love baseball. I like watching baseball in all forms. I watched a middle school game when I was in at Doubleday Field in Williamsport, or where's the Hall of Fame? My brain is breaking.
Cooperstown.
I just like baseball. I enjoy
Yeah.
it. I watch replays all year long. So I just
Yeah.
I understand you could be frustrated. I understand that the process can make you angry. I understand that Mozeliak and the way that he talks to us is
Belittling.
belittling. And I get all those things, but it's still baseball and we still get it and it's almost over. So like,
Yeah. We're going
shut
to
up, I
be
guess. I
all
don't,
really bummed for Cardinal fans come, September 29th or 30th or whatever. And then for baseball fans, late October, early
it's
November,
quick.
it becomes the worst part of the season.
Yeah.
Holiday season, my ass. It's the dark times.
Yeah, no, I fully agree with that because also living in Denver, everybody starts talking about the Broncos, and I don't care about NFL football or NFL at all. So yeah, I agree fully, Nate.
All right. Well, let's dig into let's put on our little GM caps here, and we can talk about some of the movements because the Cardinals are definitely starting to enter into let's see what we have mode. Friend of the show, favorite baseball player, Steven Matz, has been activated, and he got a start.
He did.
Yeah.
Call this from a mile away, right? It was just going to happen.
Yeah.
And I think like when you think about the process and why they're doing this, it does make sense.
Right.
I think the Cardinals were trying to win the game last night. They won the game last night, which was great. But first and foremost, they were trying to see what Steven Matz looks like on a major league mound and how he performs against a pretty good offense. And I would say like results, he went 4 and 2/3 innings. His ERA was 6.12, gave up a couple of bombs, 3 earned runs. That being said, fastball looked really nice.
Mm-hmm.
He got 7 strikeouts in that 4 and 2/3 innings. And he landed some breaking balls that kind of were coming in on the righties that I thought looked really crisp. And I thought his changeup had more movement and depth on it than we've seen in a minute. So, it's kind of the same. My mind isn't changed. Like, I think we said this at the beginning of the year. Steven Matz probably has the best potential under Sonny Gray of any arm on the Cardinals, but he just can't stay healthy and he can't stay consistent. So I think on any given day, Steven Matz could be your best or second best pitcher. It's just, I think they said a stat last night during the broadcast. He's had 33 starts in his 3 years with the Cardinals.
Yeah.
And there's no reason that us or Mo or Matz himself should think that anything is going to be different next year. And, it's too bad. But it was nice to see a healthy Matz, I guess.
Yeah, it would be fun for him to be able to end strong, and we can at least dream a little bit of him at the end of the rotation next year as we start to patch together another rotation for 2025. It would be great to have. I think next year's his last year under contract.
Correct.
Or showcase some stuff, showcase some health, and he's being packaged and traded in the offseason. I think he makes $11 million. I could see them wanting to reallocate that money and ship him somewhere.
I mean, I kind of think about it like this, and especially like, we're in the end of the season and we're thinking about it. But like you look at the Dodgers, and the Dodgers just go out and collect 8 starters, and some of them get hurt and some of them don't. And some of them give you 4 starts and some of them give you 25 starts. I mean, maybe Matt's at that price point. Maybe he is just that guy that could or could not. He's just a pure lottery ticket. He's not that much money. Maybe he's in the bullpen. Maybe he starts some games.
Yeah.
But, it's not like Steven Matz isn't the reason why the Cardinals are going to miss the playoffs. Him not being here or him not performing. And if you believe that he is, then this team was constructed then you're stupid. You weren't looking at history or what he has done.
You could argue that he is a piece of the broader puzzle that is the problem, where the pitching staff was, poorly organized at an overall level. And he is a part of that.
Yes.
But, his performance and his contract make him far less of really the finger to point, the person to point your finger at.
When you make a rotation out of 35-year-old pieces of sticks and gum, it's Mo's fault. It's the team's organizational fault. It's not the individual Steven Matz's fault.
Right. Right. Yeah, I mean, I'd be happy if they still have him next year, and it's exactly that. Like, we've seen him look good in the bullpen. They obviously the ideal is him as a starter. We just never know with health, so it would make sense to roll into 25 with him on the roster and see what we get. But I would imagine if he is on the team in 25, it would be a much quicker hand on removing him from the team if he has another major health issue or something like that.
Yeah.
Or like a quick use of the 60-day IL or something like that to free up the roster spot. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, you think about it right now going into next year, the locks or the likely projection of the rotation is Sonny Gray, Eric Fetty, Miles Michaelis, Steven Matz, Andre Palante.
Right. Assuming, I mean, I would right now, I expect them to pick up Kyle Gibson's option and probably not Lance Lynn's. But I think we're all hopeful that they make other moves that require them not to do those things.
I mean, I would, rather than signing Kyle Gibson or Lance Lynn, I would rather give the keys to any of our young pitchers.
Well, Quinn Matthews, I think, is going to make a very strong argument for being in the rotation next year. Same with hopefully Tink Kens.
I'm talking those two guys. I'm talking Graceffo, McGreevy, Liberatore. Yep. I would rather flounder in development than watch Kyle Gibson and Lance Lynn pitch for the Cardinals again.
Well, I think it does come to, you said it last week, I think, when you put it, is do the Cardinals want to run it back or turn the page? You know, and even though Kyle Gibson has only been here 1 year, them bringing him back next year would be another version of like running it back. Like, let's take another shot with this sort of roster construction with a guy that we know is not going to be the best, but we also know he's not going to completely tank like a 23-year-old can at the major league level. And which was the whole point of why they got him in the first place. So I don't know.
I don't know if you can say that with a straight face when 36-year-old Kyle Gibson did what he did this year, or has done what he's done this year. Yeah. And is 37 is the next version really?
No, it's not getting better. It's not getting better.
Yeah.
But organizations, especially the Cardinals, right or wrong, just obviously have a hesitancy of committing a rotation spot to a like horde of young guys and just assuming one of them is going to make it.
Yeah, no, that is fair. But at some point you're going to have to start giving bulk innings to these young guys.
Yeah.
And it's going to be soon.
Yeah, I agree. Well, on a more fun one, Michael Siani was reactivated, returned, and we're recording Wednesday afternoon as we usually do. So we're fresh off of quite a dramatic series of events involving Michael Siani in the game against the Brewers last night. I would argue making an incredible game-saving catch. The umpire crew felt otherwise.
I was screaming at and this is the first time I've been screaming at my TV in a while, which was really fun. That looked caught to me.
Yeah.
I was watching the post-game show, which I don't know the last time you've watched the Cardinals post-game show, but it is a rinky-dink operation.
I never watch it.
It looks insane. Al Raboski looks...
I know he's shiny as hell. He's always
wild.
It always comes on and he's super shiny. And then I turn it off.
Like the Rockies post-game budget is got to be double what the Cardinals are doing. I don't understand what's happening, but anyways, they did cite the rule, and the rule was that essentially they were saying that the player needs or the ball can come out of the player's glove under control. If it comes out of their glove out of their control in any circumstance, it is not considered a catch.
Yeah.
But I would have called that. I don't know. Like maybe that needs an adjustment because that looked like a damn catch to me. And it looked like to me that he was making a different move and then the ball flopped out of his glove. But an amazing play nonetheless.
It was. And I thought it was a catch, but I also I kind of get, it was called on the field, not a catch. And it's a gray area enough. Reviews are supposed to overturn obvious mistakes. They're not trying to nitpick on the review. So I get it. I don't agree with it, but I at least it made, I think it's probably consistent with some other calls of that regard. But it was, I think I saw it was a 10% catch probability And
I'm surprised it was even that high. I mean, that was an amazing play.
It really was. And it just was a reminder of like, oh yeah, man, Michael Siani is it. Like that is one of the bright spots of this season that like needs to be recognized, that like the Cardinals might have found like their center fielder of the future for the at least for the foreseeable future, kind of out of nowhere. I mean, I'm still a big Victor Scott guy, but like the Siani defense and the fact that he is contributing even to some degree offensively, it's just he's so much fun.
I agree. I think that you can feel pretty good about an outfield rotation of Newt in left, Siani and Scott manning center, and Jordan Walker in right. And you basically, if Siani or Scott don't start, they go in for Walker with the lead.
Right.
I think I feel really good about that. And from a defensive standpoint, and then hopefully, you get some really high end performance on the offensive standpoint from the two corners. But yeah, I dig it. I'm here for it.
Yeah. And then not that he like blew the game or anything there in the with the catch. He actually almost saved it. He still ended up winning the game with a nice hit there at the top of the 12th. And then Helsley continued his run of dominance. And it was a fun win. It was a really fun win.
Especially against the Brewers. Yeah, that was a blast. I enjoyed that quite a bit.
Yeah. So it's good to have Siani back. Also back, we all saw this coming. It's hilarious because why the fuck they sent him down for like the 3 days or whatever it was. Maybe it was longer than that, but it felt like nothing. But Jordan Walker is back and has basically been given back the starting right field job, which is, I think, the biggest indicator of the idea that the Cardinals are not putting up the white flag of this season, but they are they're seeing what they have. They're giving playing time to Walker when maybe the most ideal in the moment thing would be to give it to someone else. And it's been a little bit of mixed results so far, but I'm going to start with the positive. He had a 5-for-5 day with a home run, a stolen base. I mean, he did it all, at least offensively. And who boy, was that good to see. Jordan Walker is my dude. I have so much hope on him, and seeing a 5-for-5 day against the Yankees, it's like this is what it could be. This is what Jordan Walker could bring to the table. Now, unfortunately, everything before and after that game has basically been strikeout city. But still, that game, that was incredible.
Yeah, I think he needs to develop against major league pitching. We have some games for him to do that. He needs to lay off of that outside and low breaking ball.
It's the breaking ball that you can see. Everyone is that same pitch. It's the same thing that they're getting Arenado, or at least they were getting Arenado on too. It's a down and away breaking pitch. He just can't lay off of it.
And I think the only way to get better is to see that pitch over and over and over again until you start to figure it out. And I do think he will figure it out. And I think he'll start, either laying off of it entirely or driving it with authority the other way. But major league pitching can land that pitch, 70% of the time, 80% of the time. And that doesn't happen in AAA or AA or anywhere else in the entire world. So I think it makes sense. And he's a long levered guy. It's going to take him a second. He'll figure it out. I'm really not worried about it. I think we just need to be patient and deal with the strikeouts and deal with the growing pains and everybody, it'll be fine. This will pay off.
The dude had a 116 WRC plus across a full season in 2023. He has been in that's pretty well above average major league hitter already across a full season. So we know he can do it. I don't want to repeat all the narratives. Cardinals are in his head, et cetera, whatever. We know he can do it. Playing time is the path back. And I'm hopeful that, we get a solid September out of him. And then, we go back into 2025, just all on the Jordan Walker hype train.
Hell yeah. I'm here for it. And I'm not even worried about it, honestly. Like people who are all up in he's so young.
Yeah.
It's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Calm down.
In order to make room for Jordan Walker. Unfortunately, the revenge tour, kind of dwindled and was shipped off. Tommy Pham, I mean, that
with no fanfare whatsoever. It's just a whimper and a cry.
well,
and
he
he's
was
out
bad.
The door.
That's the
Yeah.
problem, Now that grand slam and his first at bat will forever be I think a real highlight of this season.
Yes.
One of the most fun moments of this entire year. But unfortunately, it kind of stopped at that. I think he was 3 for his last 39 before being put on waivers and ultimately claimed by the Royals, where he's playing now.
We'll hear what really happened in some off-season podcast that Tommy Pham does, where he throws dirt on somebody.
Yeah.
But yeah, good for him. The Royals having a little action over there. They're
he failed upwards. He's over on they're gonna. I mean, that's a fun team over there.
It is. Yeah, and he can go beat up on the White Sox.
Yeah. Cannot be. Oh man, I just saw they have lost 45 of 50 games.
Oof. Yeah. Wow. Just looking at the Royals right now. Do you know, Nathan?
What's that?
Paul DeJong has a 126 OPS plus with the Royals.
Yeah, he's doing well over there.
All right.
Well, that's the Paul DeJong story, though. You get these months. He's like the best hitter in baseball, and then it just doesn't last.
Hey, he's got a 519 slug for the Royals right now. That's not an easy ballpark to hit home runs in. So
no,
good for Paulie D.
He's kind of been crushing it.
They got Paul DeJong, Tommy Pham, Michael Wacha. Am I forgetting anyone?
I don't know. It's probably like a bullpen arm or something.
Cardinals West right now. It's that's kind of fun.
So best of luck, Tommy Pham. We'll never forget. And then finally, the Cubs, go Cubs, have claimed Sean Armstrong off of waivers. So, I mean, this
one kind of pissed me off. I'm not going to lie to you, Nate. This one kind of pissed me off when I saw this come through.
Yeah, he was pretty good for us. He's probably going to be pretty good for them, and
Rob hasn't been great.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's there's very likely to be a Sean Armstrong appearance in a Cubs Cardinals game. That's going to piss me off.
Yeah.
Actually, the Cubs, they don't play each other anymore for the rest of the year, do they?
Oh yeah, you're right.
I think it's done. So at least we'll be spared that shame. But I have no analysis on this other than it's just really annoying.
Yeah. Yeah. So the Sean Armstrong era comes to a close again, I guess.
Again. Yeah. Fully.
All right. I'm going to let you drive this segment here, Ben. We want to talk about what the last month of the Cardinals is going to look like.
Yeah.
And where we can put some of our hopes.
I have just some musings, Nathan, that I'd like to get off my chest here. But I think we got to talk. Let's be positive, actually. And let's talk about Paul Goldschmidt. Paul Goldschmidt is legitimately hot right now. He's been one of the 5 best players in the National League over the last 2 weeks. And I understand it's only 2 weeks, but I think when it's a player that has such a history, a track record as Paul Goldschmidt, you can put way more into it because we know that he knows how to do it. He will be a Hall of Famer for it. And I think these are great signs. And I also think it makes the end of season conversation more complicated, assuming he can hold this up. But over the last 2 weeks, Paul Goldschmidt has added 1 F-WAR to his season.
Yeah.
An entire WAR in 2 weeks. That is how good he has been. And also, reflective of how bad he's been. His WRC plus is now over 100. I think it's sitting at 101 or 102, which has not been true for essentially the entire season.
Right.
He has 7 barrels over the last 2 weeks. Over the previous months prior to that, he had 32. So he's just crushing the ball all of a sudden, which is great. So the real question is, can he keep it up for the remainder of the year? And if he can, how are Cardinals fans, how are the people who listen to this show feeling about bringing Goldschmidt back? Because I think a month and a half or so of Goldschmidt being the player that we know might change everybody's temperature on how they feel about him.
Yeah. And he's traditionally been a second half slugger. We've seen that sort of wax and wane as his time with the Cardinals, but that has been kind of the book on him. And as you age, typically like the hot streaks start to diminish and the cold streaks extend. So maybe this is just that. He's finally getting hot. We've been talking about the underlying numbers more or less supporting his production, although it got pretty bad there for a little while to where even the underlying numbers were looking rough. But still, the plate approach, or rather the hard hit numbers, have always been there. And so maybe it's just the results are catching up with the process. I don't know, but I think your point about like if he crushes September, ends on a NL Player of the Month style campaign for September, it probably makes you feel a little bit better about what is likely coming. I think whether we all agree with it or not, I still think the most likely thing is that the Cardinals are gonna like Yadier Molina, Adam Wainwright, Paul Goldschmidt, if that makes sense, 1-year deals with options or something like that.
And I agree with you. I didn't think that this was going to be a slam dunk until I read that John Denton article that came out earlier this week. And if you haven't read that, I would recommend checking it out. It was the one where he was interviewing Goldy about his future. And Goldy was talking about how he owed something to the fans and to the Cardinals, which really sounded like comeback tour to me.
Right.
The fact
and probably team-friendly deal, totally. But even team-friendly still for a guy at his level with his pedigree, like, team friendly, I think means like 20 something a year, 20 million a year, maybe 15 with incentives. I'd be really surprised if he would do anything less than that.
Yeah. The Cardinals give $5 million to his charity or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, he's got the bag. He seems like a guy who is not particularly money motivated. If that was the case, he wouldn't have accepted the extension from the Cardinals in the first place, which most people believe was a below market deal. So I think he's not going to gouge the Cardinals, but the players union also has a say in this sort of thing. So
absolutely,
you're not going to get like a 8 million, Paul Goldschmidt or something. So it will be, do the Cardinals want to invest? I guess 15 to 22. I think it would be cool. I've always been a fan of the incentive based contracts, give him 15 and then a bunch of stuff that ramps it up if he's the Paul Goldschmidt we want, and just makes it a little bit easier to platoon him if that's where this heads. So I'm almost certain it's going to happen. I think that article sealed it. And I think I'm personally, I do think that there's probably a smarter roster construction you could do than re-signing Paul Goldschmidt. But as a Cardinal fan and as a fan of Paul Goldschmidt as a player, I'm not going to be the one who's out there saying that this is bad and stupid and a waste of resources, because I also think, especially, this is assuming that this sort of streak continues and he ends September pretty well. I think, we could argue that there's far worse players you could spend your money on, and that upside is still worth banking on.
So Hall of Famer, it'd be really fun if he went in with the Cardinals cap on. I agree with everything you said.
He's going, if he wants to play in 2025, he's going to play
100%.
And it'll probably be a contender, probably signing him to be their DH, or I mean, he still picks it at first. So he'll be somewhere. And do we really want to watch Paul Goldschmidt hit 25 bombs for the Yankees next year, or
the Reds?
Or the Reds?
There's a lot of teams that could use a Paul Goldschmidt.
Yeah.
Okay, now I have a bone to pick. I said my positive thing. Okay, Nate. Ivan Herrera has come back up. Obviously, unfortunately, Wilson is injured with that hit by pitch, which just sucks. He has had such a rough year. But Ivan Herrera has come up and contributed immediately. He has 1,000 OPS over the last 7 days. He has a 791 OPS over the last 2 weeks. It seems, or tell me if you agree with me, I would argue that he is one of the best 9 or 10 hitters in the Cardinals organization right now. Do you concede that?
Yeah, well, I know where you're going with this, and I agree 100% already.
So if that is true, Nate, and the Cardinals offense has been a dog shit pile all year, what the hell was he doing in AAA for so long when he could have been taking at bats at DH, first base, anywhere, pinch hitting? The Cardinals offense has been so bad this year. He has been the one consistent bright spot. What the hell are we doing?
Yeah, I don't know. And I mean, I know has been repeated multiple times on this show, is the concept of Pedro Pages is going to be, jammed down our throats this year. That is part of it. And until recently, with Wilson getting hurt, like the idea of rostering 3 catchers, even though it's been a thing for a while now, the Cardinals having 3 catchers. There's clearly some hesitation to have him behind the plate. And I guess the thought was his defensive liability is not worth the offensive upside. And they didn't really they weren't going to DH him over Wilson, and they're not going to start him behind the plate over Pages. So what do you do? I think that's been the logic, but frankly,
even a bench bat at this point,
right? Or just play him over Pages,
or just play him over Pages.
Yeah, I get
starving for offense.
Yeah, and I don't. There must be just something fundamentally that we're missing here between the on the field performance and off the field for Herrera.
Yeah,
that no one wants to talk about or say directly, above and beyond just like defense. I don't know what it is. I'm not making any claims about his personality type or anything like that, but it's so bizarre to me. There must be something in his evaluation that like we're not seeing, because I like looking at his ratings on defense. It's not like he's that bad either. Like I know Pages is better, but when you're so offensively starved, it just seems like that'd be a trade-off. We start Nolan Gorman at second. So
that's that. It's the offense. That's the part that I'm having the biggest issue with, is that there is a clear issue, and the clear issue is offense. And this is one of your best hitters. Put him in the damn lineup.
Yeah.
Somehow, some way, figure it out. That's what we. Yeah. Anyways. Okay.
Yeah. And he's been getting, if you look at his, we love the underlying numbers here. He has a expected WOBA of 353. That's huge. That's certainly got to be one of the best on the team, if not like the best on the team. It's a relatively small sample size still, but like not crazy, so his results haven't even matched his output. He can be even better.
He is an above average major league hitter, and we have just been stashing him in the minors for no reason. And that's just not a win now move from my point of view.
Yeah.
Speaking of, Nate, I know I talk about Luken Baker way too much. He takes up way too much time on this podcast for how much he plays. But I think we need to take note. Luken Baker has had 27 plate appearances in the big leagues this year. He's only got 3 hits. All of those have been for extra bases. 2 of those are home runs. He also has 7 walks against 7 Ks. Again, the Cardinals are starved for offense. Find this guy at bats. It has been very productive. It has been very power focused, and he is walking way more than I had ever thought that he would walk. What are we doing? He has, in a very, very limited plate appearances, the best WRC plus on the team. And I'm of the opinion, and again, we're in the end game, whatever. Let's limp to the end and stuff like that. But with the needs of the team next year, with the baseball games that you have, start this kid as often as possible. Maybe the righty masher that we need, the Brent Rooker, maybe he's inside the house.
Yeah.
And he's a 300-pound Texas boy that hits a ball harder than anyone else on the team. Let's lean into that. Buy stock in Luken Baker. I'll calm down. I don't need to talk about it so much. But for real.
Here's something fun. His launch angle. Just call it a little choo-choo, baby. It's a 25-degree launch angle.
That's what I'm talking about. This kid could make it up Pikes Peak in a second. It's my dude.
Average exit velocity, 94.5.
Yes.
Yeah, he hits the ball.
What do the Cardinals need? Power.
Yeah.
Where do they need it from? The right-handed side of the plate. Let's go.
What do we need? Power. Where do we need it from? The right side of the plate.
You did the whole thing. Okay, good. That was good.
Wasn't sure if it was really coming across.
No, I got it.
Yeah.
All right, Nate. I have a positive note again to talk about. Are you ready for this?
A whiplash here.
This is my glimmer of hope. That's what I'm calling this.
Okay.
All right. The Braves are dealing with injuries right now. They got Austin Riley and Ozzie Albies on the IL. The Diamondbacks have Moreno, Marte, Gurriel, and Thomas on the IL right now. The Diamondbacks have the 7th strongest schedule that they have to fight through for the remainder of the season. The Mets have the 4th. Those are the teams that are in front of the Cardinals in the wild card standings right now. The Cardinals, however, have the 5th easiest schedule over the remainder of the year. Games against the Rockies, Pirates, Reds, Blue Jays, Giants, and Mariners. All teams that are out of the race or ostensibly out of the race. The only team or the only series that they have against a winning team from now until the end of the year is the Guardians, who are good but are beatable. The Cardinals, it's somewhere like around a 1.2 chance to make the playoffs. I don't think it's going to happen. I would put no money on this, but I would want to point out that there is a window. And if you're needing a reason to watch the remainder of the season, I think that's a reason to watch right there. Strength of schedule, health are on the Cardinals side right now.
Yeah. Fangraphs has it down to a 0.8% chance to make the playoffs, with the Cubs at 1.7 because they are now above the Cardinals. But hey, they're not eliminated yet. They're not the Colorado Rockies who just got eliminated like 2 days ago from the playoffs.
Hell yeah, baby.
They're not the White Sox who got eliminated 2 or 3 months ago, I think. So statistically, still there. I think technically less. Still more likely than what they did in 2011. What was it, like 10 games back going into September or something like that? So, crazier shit has happened.
I want to be clear. I don't think it's going to happen. I would put no money on this, but you can see if everything plays out just right, how the Cardinals could sneak their way into the playoffs. They get blown up by whatever team they're matched up against.
Of course.
Wouldn't that be fun?
It would be fun. I have dueling feelings on this because it's such a low percentage outcome. Part of me wants it just to be over, and frankly, for the Cardinals to stop winning so that we get a better draft pick. I think Cardinal fans are going to be really happy with JJ Weatherholt, and we're going to not make the playoffs. We might as well get as close to a good pick as we can. But then that is like such a boring, nerdy way to root for a team, Absolutely, so my like heart says, no, I want to win every single game. And I want them, if they're going to get eliminated, I want it to be the very last possible moment because they fought until the end. And also because we are, watching this to see what we have. I want them to win a lot of games because that means guys like Walker are maybe crushing it. Baker's maybe crushing it, those sorts of things that you need for the game, for the team to win. This is not like last year where by the end of August, they were throwing out starters that we just knew had no long-term capacity on the team. Like the starting rotation was all just like, let's just get through these games, get innings in, like
or Drew Rom.
Yeah, Drew Rom. Like you could tell the Cardinals actually did kind of want to lose a lot of games by the end. I don't think they're going to take that approach this September. No, we'll see.
And to your point, JJ Weatherholt, depending on who you look at, some people think he's a top 10 prospect already. That's going to work out really well for us. So we'll take it. But I never want to be rooting for that. That is just not how my brain is wired.
No, but it is fun though. Like it's still super early. The dude has just made his pro debut, but it certainly seems like the Cardinals did very, very well with their first very high draft pick since like 1992 or whatever it was. There are comps to say he's the best pure hitter in the draft, and
he's already walking more than he's striking out. So this is great.
He looks good. And I think he has a chance to play next year. So, okay. Well, there's our little glimmer of hope.
Yep.
There's our little, I think we've made an impassioned plea at this point in this episode to say like, let's keep following it and keep trying to have fun with it, even though, this season has been a disaster.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So with that, we want to remind everybody that this show is listener supported by listeners just like you positive fan out there who's still committed and still listening to this show. You're what make it happen every single week. And our the true supporters have taken the time to join our patreon.com/talkingaboutbirds. Patrons of any level get access to our private Discord server. We call it the Bird Score. Tweet, baby. We're always talking in there. People are posting pictures from the games they're going to from all around the country, which is cool. Well, all around the world, frankly. And our fantasy baseball league, Hambone, the playoffs start next week. And
it's a good reminder.
You and I are fighting for the last playoff spot. And I am one game behind you. So I'm coming for my playoff. I'm coming to defend my title. You're dumb and you're bad. And Beefy Boys, Sloppy Taco, oi, 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 all of you, Carp and Holes. I'm coming for all of you. I will not go down without a fight. Ben's remembering that he needs to check his team for the first time in 3 weeks right now.
Setting my lineup right now.
But I'm coming for all of you. And
I've had Fernando Tatis Jr. on the bench.
He just came back.
Okay.
But we're going to be recruiting for this league again next year. So if that sounds fun to you, getting the bird scored, we got a bunch of other stuff we're doing, but patreon.com/talkingaboutbirds. If you can't support that, we'd appreciate if you take a moment to leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. It really does help. Hambone, where else can people find us online?
You can follow us on Twitter at Talk About Birds. We're on Instagram at Talking About Birds. The show has a TikTok. You can come look at our TikToks. You can listen to this show on YouTube or Spotify if you prefer to listen there. You can email us thoughts and questions and whatever else you got to talkaboutbirds@gmail.com. And as always, you can call us and leave a voicemail or text us at 848-48-BIRDS. That's 848-482-4737.
All right. So we've got a couple series coming up that should be fun. The Mariners, a team that Ben and I both have always liked, but they're having this season has been a struggle bus for them as well. They just can't hit. We know what that's like. They're coming to town for 3. They have good pitching, bad offense. It's kind of been their story for a while now. They do have Julio, who seems to maybe be waking up finally.
I think so, yeah.
He's had a disappointing year after an incredible campaign last year. I don't know. Big dumpers coming to town.
I think Cal Raleigh might be one of the most underrated players in baseball.
Yeah, he's a ton of fun.
Love his game, switch hitting, power catcher, calls a great game, has a great arm, has a fat ass. I mean, I just love his whole game.
What more could you want?
Outside of that, Victor Robles has been a really great story for them. They picked up off the dumpster fire from the Nationals, made a couple of tweaks to his hitting, and he's taken off, and they gave him an extension, and I think that's a great story. But outside of that, they cannot hit. I thought Mitch Haniger was going to be a great pickup for them, and that just wasn't. But outside of that, they have some of my favorite pitchers in baseball, and they're all in their starting rotation. Logan Gilbert, Luis Castillo, George Kirby, Brian Wu, and Bryce Miller, just top to bottom, really exciting. Looks like we're going to see Bryce Miller, Logan Gilbert, and Luis Castillo. That's going to suck.
Yeah. Any one of those.
Yeah.
Honestly, man, Sonny Gray is awesome. But I think any one of those I'd probably be saying is the Cardinal number 1.
Yeah, I don't think I would say that about Brian Wu or Bryce Miller just because they're young.
Well, I mean the guys that were playing this weekend. Would you say Logan Gilbert?
It's Miller, Gilbert, and Castillo.
Okay, yeah. Miller.
We're missing
Gray
Kirby,
over.
But I would say Gilbert, Castillo, and Kirby. All 3 are better than any player the Cardinals or pitcher the Cardinals have.
Yeah.
Maybe any player the Cardinals have. They are all really, really good.
Yeah. So should be an interesting series. It's at home. Good chance to pick up some wins. After that, the Reds come to St. Louis. We've talked endlessly about the Reds this year. Sort of same story. High upside, but they strike out a ton. Playing him at home, you feel a lot better than playing at Great American Ballpark. I don't know, anything new or interesting you want to talk about with the Reds?
Their rotation is in shambles right now.
Yeah.
That's all names nobody's ever heard of. Nick Martinez, Rhett Lauder, Brandon Williamson, and Julian Aguilar are their starters. Outside of that, the team looks pretty much the same. Their bullpen is still pretty healthy, and their major league players are all pretty good. Ellie is a little bit in a skid right now, but I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back against the Cardinals because he
that's the thing
dude.
with Ellie is that he clearly is a hot and cold player. It's just when he's hot, he's the best player in baseball, and then when he's cold, it's like he's still fine, but he strikes out too much.
Yeah, but Ellie is that dude.
Yes.
So be careful for him. But outside of that, this team they are sputtering to the end, even in more dramatically than the Cardinals have.
Yeah. Which is fun. Suck it, Reds.
Suck it, Reds.
This is still a Cardinal podcast. Yeah. Boo, Cincinnati. Get your weird chili out of here.
That chili is nasty.
I've never had it.
Well, why would you? It's spaghetti chili.
Yeah. Have you been to Skyline, like the proper place?
No, I respect myself. And Ohio's a piece of shit. It's a trash state. Oh, we have 3 major cities. Nobody gives a shit, Ohio. Am I right?
Yep. Yeah. Get out of here. It's a seed.
Yeah. It'd be really difficult with their location. But yeah, I agree. Get lost.
Yeah.
Take a hike.
Eat dirt. All right. Eat dirt, Ohio.
Got him. I mean, that's basically what Skyline Chili is.
Nice.
Dirt eating bitches.
Now, Steak and Shake. Now, they've got a chili 5-way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Steak and Shake, I think that's Indianapolis based.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, Indiana can suck on too.
Okay.
Okay. Let's run through just a little bit of league news here.
Yeah, a couple of notes. We are watching the Shohei Ohtani story, of course. My numbers are out of date. Actually, he had 3 stolen bases against the Diamondbacks the other night.
Yeah.
But he is the first player in MLB history with a 43-43 season. We are in 50-50 watch. I think he's going to do it. He's got a month to hit about 7 home runs.
Didn't he get I think he's at 44 now, isn't he?
Oh, is he at 44?
Yeah, I think he got another one. He's at like, here, hold on. I can get it real quick. Because I think he's at like 44. Yeah, he's at 44.
Wow.
46.
Wow. Yeah, I think he's going to do it.
Yeah. While also hitting 292.
And rehabbing from Tommy John.
Yeah.
And having a cute dog.
I know every time we get these updates where it's like, Ohtani threw from the mound for the first time. I'm like, oh my God, he's also in between all of this. He's going through a full rehab program.
Yes.
Yeah. It's absolutely insane. I did want to ask you though.
Yeah.
So obviously it has certainly felt like Ohtani's the runaway MVP. It's not even close. Have you been paying attention to Francisco Lindor?
So I don't agree with you on your thought that it's not even close with Ohtani being the MVP. I think that Francisco Lindor's season has been woefully reported on or appreciated. I think that Ellie De La Cruz's season has been underappreciated. I think Ketel Marte's season has been underappreciated. Outside of that, there's not a lot of other people who are eyeing for it. And I could be convinced, but I have a bit of I just don't love the DH only getting the MVP consideration. That being said, maybe it speaks to his prowess even more, the fact that he is putting up the kind of production while only playing half the game. This is maybe some old school bullshit thought that I have. I just don't love it.
Well, I think that's part of why, from a WAR perspective, he's not leading the league in WAR anymore.
Yeah.
Francisco Lindor is, because he's also playing shortstop. And if Ohtani was even playing like an average right field, he'd be at like 11 WAR right now or something insane, right? So I hear you. I think the numbers do reflect that, and it will see if the voters recognize that as well. Because I mean, he's barely above Ellie in WAR. He's right around the same spot as Ketel, and that's all because he doesn't play defense. He actually takes like a bit of a hit because he doesn't play defense. And so we'll see. But
I will let the remainder of the season convince me. But I think if I had to vote right now with 1 month remaining, I would go Lindor. I also just think that there is something about the, like DiCaprio winning for The Revenant. Like, all right, you've done the work for years. You deserve this. Let's throw him an MVP. Let's throw him an Oscar. I kind of feel that way. That's probably stupid, I guess, but
well,
I
it'd
think
be
Lindor
stupid if he
deserves an
wasn't
MVP.
also like if Lindor was like at 5 WAR.
Well, DiCaprio was great in The Revenant. The Revenant, not a perfect movie,
sure,
but his performance Oscar worthy. We could all agree with that.
How about that bear?
Have you seen The Revenant?
I was
trying to tell if you were faking because you just referenced the one thing.
I think I saw. I don't remember why it ended up this way, but I watched the first like hour of it. I think,
and then you're like, "I'm out. This guy seems to be lost."
Yeah, this sucks. No hope for this guy.
Yeah, where's the jokes?
Yeah. Scorsese, what are you doing?
It's not Scorsese.
I know. It's okay. It's Leo. I liked the work the bear did.
All right.
That was cool.
My next and final piece of league news. Vinny Pasquatch goes down.
Yeah.
He's going to miss 6 to 8 weeks with a broken thumb, which is too bad because Vinny Pasquantino is just good for baseball. But that does mean that the Royals have called up another player that they just acquired, Yuli Gurriel, and this is the first 40-year-old or older hitter we have in MLB this year. And this was about to be the first year in like 100 years where we have not had a 40-year-old hitter with Joey Votto obviously retiring. So that has been saved. He has already taken at bats. We have a 40-year-old. I'm curious to see if this streak stops next year because the game is getting younger. I don't know who it would be off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But it be happening, and we broke it. We broke it this year, just barely.
I just pulled up Pasquantino because he's having a pretty good year, but when you actually look at it, he's basically having a league average season. He's on pace for just under 2 WAR.
Yeah.
Felt like a bigger blow. I think partly it's that he hits behind Bobby Witt, so he's at almost 100 RBI already. He's at 97 going into September. And a lot of that is because that top of that Royals lineup is pretty good. So
he also doesn't strike out a lot. He's kind of he's very much a Royals player in his style of play. So I think it maybe WAR and, their style is harder to understand in a funny way, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. He's got a 106 WRC plus. So he's having a pretty good year, but I mean that, 12, he's got a 7% walk rate and only almost 13% K rate. So putting the ball in play a lot. It's a fast team. So you can see how that'd be valuable.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. That's all I got for league news.
All right. We're going to wrap this up with a little check-in. It's been a little while. I wanted to, as we head into the final month, Hambone, I wanted to see how we were doing on our draft day Heroes and Hatchlings edition game.
All right.
So if you're new to the show, it's been a little while since we checked in on this. Ben and I, at the beginning of the season, before anything started, we did a draft. We had 6 total players, 3 from the 26-man, 3 from not. And the goal was to draft the most total Fangraphs WAR. So I had the first overall pick, and then Ben went twice, and then I went twice, and we went back and forth until we had everybody. So a quick reminder of the teams. I have Nolan Arenado, Jordan Walker, Wilson Contreras, Lucan Baker, Tink Hence, and Tekoa Roby. And Hambone had Paul Goldschmidt, Sonny Gray, Nolan Gorman, Sajasi, Graceffo, and McGreevy. So you can already kind of hear some wins and losses mounting up for the two of us. So I'm going to run down these numbers real quick. Sorry, there's a lot of number reading, but I kind of think that the reason I like this game and I think it's interesting to check in is it also gives us just a opportunity to like check in on some of the top players on the team and how their season has progressed. So we'll start with my team. Nolan Arenado. Last time we checked in, which was around May, he was at 1.2 F4 on the season. Arenado has been playing better. He is now at 2.4, putting him on pace for somewhere around a 3 WAR season, which is good, but not great. But, it's kind of the reality of the situation. But for my team, It's nice to see him double his WAR in the between these last two periods. My next guy, Jordan Walker, taken 4th overall in this draft because I was super hyped on the 2024 Jordan Walker.
Rightfully so.
Rightfully so. He's currently at negative 0.5 F4.
Wow.
Last time we checked in, he was at negative 0.2. So his return to the majors has decreased his total F4 by 0.3. So he's got a hill to climb. Right now, I think we're just hoping for in 2025 or 24 with a positive number.
I think that could happen.
Yeah, I mean, half a WAR, we've seen it. You can do that in a game or two if you have like a crazy couple games, or you can do it over a month. You definitely can do it. Right.
Absolutely.
We just saw Paul Goldschmidt add 1 in 2 weeks.
Right.
Yeah. Wilson Contreras. Well, he's at 2.6 and we'll maintain that. He was at 1.8 in our last check-in. So he did, in his little return, the amount of time we had him, he was great. And he's ending the season at 2.6, making him still the most valuable offensive player on the team. And he has played, I don't know,
so
60%, half of it, maybe.
Yeah.
And then one of my guys, finally, Lucan Baker. I've been ringing the Lucan Baker bell all season.
Hey,
my dude.
Me too.
He's at 0.1 on the board.
Telling you, this guy, there's something there.
And my last guys, Tink Hens, Takao Roby, have yet to make their debut. And frankly, it doesn't really feel like they're going to.
It would be shocking if Takao Roby comes up. It would be less shocking if Tink Hens gets a cup of coffee.
Yeah, I'm hopeful for that.
Yes.
If I remember when I did this draft, I was saying, I think it's unlikely that both of these guys make it, but I think one of them will make it and one of them will contribute. Been kind of wrong about that, but I still think there's a chance that at least one of them comes up.
Yeah, I didn't see Takao Roby taking the step back that he has this year, but he'll be okay.
Yeah. All right, Hambone, your team. Paul Goldschmidt. You've mentioned it. Last time we checked in, he had 0.2 WAR, which was up from negative 0.4 from our first check-in.
Go.
He is now at 1.2.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So an increase of 1 for you and your team. Sonny Gray. He's struggled a little bit, but he's still been gaining. He is now at 3 F4.
Great
so
player.
He's put up a half a WAR since our last check-in.
Great player. Thought we'd get a little more out of him this year, but we'd love to see it.
Yeah, same. Nolan Gorman.
Oof.
Fortunately for you, he's at 0.3, so he has stayed positive despite the struggles.
Right.
But that is no change from his last update.
And unlikely to change, period.
Yeah, I mean, I think he comes back up when the minor league season is over.
Yeah.
But what amount of plate appearances he gets, I'm not sure. And then going into your minors, so JC hasn't played, Graceffo hasn't played, but Michael McGreevy, that one start, he earned himself 0.2 F4.
Pretty good.
Yeah, one start.
Pretty good.
Hambone, my total from my 6 players, 80% of the way into the season, is 4.6 F4.
Okay. I have to be better than that.
Your season,
just Sonny Gray alone,
4.7.
Oh my goodness.
You are 0.1. The difference is McGreevy has provided 0.2 and Lucan Baker has provided 0.1.
And Lucan Baker likely to keep adding to that, you would think.
However, I'm not getting any more from Contreras. And we don't know which direction Walker is going to go. So it's anybody's race. You've got Goldy.
This is the 3rd year in a row that it has been this tight. This is insane.
It is.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, all right. So we'll see. We'll check in at the end of the year. Probably an episode or 2 into the off season, or at least into the playoffs. So, all right.
Yeah, and a reminder, we go all off season. We're here. We put out a show every week. So you can come enjoy the weird off season that's about to happen with us.
Yes. Yes. So, and with that, that'll do it for this week's episode. So thanks as always for everyone. Consider the Patreon, patreon.com/talkingaboutbirds. Find your enjoyment in baseball and tell your friends about the show. We really appreciate it. Word of mouth is still the best way this show, that really podcasts in general, spread. So just take a moment, tell your friends. And we will be back next week as always. And until next week, go Cardinals.
Luke Timber, baby.
Luke Timber. The only Cardinal podcast that, like John, oh God, I swallowed. It was a wet swallow.
Oh, looks like you got punched. That was weird. Is there a ghost in the room?
Yeah, there is.